I also love a good mailbag question. YouTube comments or X, formerly known as Twitter, ways to get in the mailbag. If you want priority access and all sorts of other perks, go join the flock over at Subtext. Link in the description below wherever you listen to or watch this show. This from Nick. Looking for your opinion. Which true freshman will get the most snaps this year? One on offense, one on defense, and why? Let's start with offense. This is a really tricky one because Oregon's offense has got so much depth to it that it's pretty tough for a true freshman to come in and just have a role and see the field. Certainly in mop-up duty, you'll see true freshmen get opportunities. But when the game is still in question, it's pretty hard to see. It's pretty hard to see. I think you could, not saying you will, I think you could have 0 true freshmen on offense take meaningful snaps. I think that is absolutely, positively possible. Not a guarantee. The guy I would look at on offense to get meaningful snaps is Shaq McCroy, the offensive tackle, because Oregon has had a jumbo package each of the last couple of years, and it's been really, really effective. And if you go back to 2022, Josh Connerly, who we were talking about earlier on today's show, was the jumbo tackle in that package. He was the extra offensive lineman that Oregon brought in to complete the jumbo package. And there is also something just aesthetically pleasing about having something you call a jumbo package and Shaq McCroy, who is one of the largest human beings people that cover recruiting have ever seen. You talk to Brian Smith or Max Torres, they'll say the same thing, or anyone who's seen him in person. Like, that is an abnormally large human. And if he's in that situation, he might not be super refined. I think he's still got some technique things to work out. But if you put him into that environment, it's not as complicated to say, hey, go just move someone around. You're not getting complicated with the run game blocking schemes. You're not asking him to pass protect. Just go out there, see someone in front of you, move him out of the way. Just be a big body, a big presence out there. Now, he's not locked in that we know of, because we haven't seen any of this sort of stuff yet, to be that jumbo tackle, that extra offensive lineman for that set. I mean, they usually have a couple extra offensive linemen in there. Like, I'd expect Davey Uli to have a role, maybe Kawika Rogers or George Silva. It could be any of those guys as well. But that's the first name that popped in my head when I was thinking true freshmen on offense that play this year, because you think about the receivers, like Jeremiah McClellan looked pretty awesome in the spring game. Ryan Pelham looked all right. Ryan Pelham could have a role in the return game, maybe, but I think McCroy is more likely to have a role there because there are other guys I'm sure that'll be vying for the return game spot. But certainly that's an aspect of Pelham, the wide receivers, a game as well. So I did ponder, like, where else can you see, like, running back? You're 3 deep, and it's either Jay Lamar or Jay Harris is the next guy. I don't think DeJuan Riggs will play this year. At tight end, you're 3 deep, and you got a bunch of experienced guys in there. And wide receiver, you're 6 deep, quite literally. Stewart, Johnson, Holden, and then Gary Bryant Jr., Kyler Casper, Jurion Dickey. Like, I think it'd be pretty tough for McClellan or any of the freshman receivers to see the field there. And then offensive line, that's the one spot. That's the one spot in that situation. So I'll go Shaq McCroy on offense. On defense, I think this is an either or. And building off a conversation that I had with Max on today's show, I think the safety room is where you're going to see a true freshman play. I think that's either going to be Aaron Flowers or Peyton Woodyard. Woodyard, of course, came over from Alabama after deciding, this isn't really for me. And, again, both guys, I've talked to Brian Smith about both here on the show in the past, and he said kind of the same things that Max had to say about Kobe Savage, which is, well, downhill, playing in the box, hard hitter, super athlete, but he's, just okay or not great in coverage over the top, and he's not, a rangy playmaker or anything like that. And I just haven't seen or talked to anyone to indicate that Oregon has an elite playmaker on the back end. Now, reportedly, Solomon Davis has made the switch from corner to safety. Maybe he fills that role. Maybe he's a guy that, can be a little bit more of a ball hawking player on the back end. Oregon's really just been lacking that the last couple of years. And I think that, Brian Addison was really good. And I was curious and a little surprised that his role diminished as much as it did in 2023, but going into this year, I think you've got a safety room that is among the thinnest on either side of the ball, just comparatively, because Oregon has so much depth elsewhere. And I think you're going to have an opportunity for either Woodyard, who is a transfer but a true freshman, or Flowers to see the field. Like, especially if there's an injury in there, one of those guys or Tyler Turner will have to step up, will have to play. And I think they're going to have a role anyway. But I think that depth chart, the two safety spots on the back end are probably going to be filled by Tysheem Johnson and Kobe Savage. And the guys behind him, they're going to play. Maybe not a ton. Maybe Oregon will keep those rotations, a little bit thinner compared to what they do, say, along the defensive line, where they like to rotate guys. If you look at the snap counts from a year ago, there was some rotation in the secondary, but there was extensive rotation along the defensive line where no one was really logging more than 400 or 500 snaps, and a lot of guys were in the 300 to 400 range because they're trying to keep them fresh, because it's a more exhausting position because you're getting hit and pushed around on every single play. So I'd say Aaron Flowers or Woodyard, whichever one the coaching staff like more and feel like is more ready to play. And I think it could be either one of them. They were both pretty highly touted recruits, and you look at their film and it's impressive. And I was really impressed with Flowers in the spring game. Obviously, Woodyard came in after the spring game. He and Harmon were the post-spring game transfer portal additions for the Ducks. But Flowers, the dude can hit. Like, he is big. He's physically ready. He reminds me of Jaleel Florence. When Florence first played for Oregon in the 2022 spring game, my first thought looking at him was, wow, he looks ready. Like, he looks ready. And not every true freshman looks that way, no matter what position group you're talking about. Like, talk about the linebackers, for instance. I don't think any of the true freshmen are going to be ready to play. Like, Braden Platt looked all right, but Kamar Mathuti got bowled over a couple times. That doesn't mean his career is going to be a disaster. It means he's just not ready to play as a true freshman. Yeah, Jay Harris is a big guy, but do you think Jay Harris would be able to do that against Jeff Bosser or Justin Jacobs or Devin Jackson? Because I don't. I don't think he would be able to make that sort of bulldozing move that he did. It was really impressive, of course. But I think that's a sign of, okay, he's not quite physically ready, needs a year to get his body in shape. Flowers doesn't have that element to him. You watch him out there, you're like, that guy looks like a redshirt sophomore with the way he's hitting, the way he's moving, and the athleticism that he's got. So those would be the true freshmen I'd identify as, I think these guys are going to end up seeing the field. I don't think you'll have a ton of true freshmen playing, which is overall a good thing. I think you'll have guys that can crack the depth chart, particularly on defense, but the safety room, Flowers or Woodyard, and then offensively Shaq McCroy, those would be my picks. Great question. Keep them coming as always. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks. Have you checked out FanDuel yet? If not, you should, because it's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. And you can bet everything you want for Oregon. They've got Big Ten championship odds, second best in the league, national title odds, top 5 in all of college football. It's a crazy statement to say, but it's true. Oregon has better national title odds than Alabama. Go figure. Welcome to 2024. Oregon's win total is 10.5. Whichever way you're feeling, you can bet that. So go get your gambling fix there today. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and our official sportsbook sponsor here at the Locked On Network.